In case you guys haven't noticed, there's beef happening in the Malaysian radio industry and is juicy. These two radio stations, Era and another station we're going to call What FM, have been at each other's throats. One station announced that they were Malaysia's #1 station, but then after they did, another came out saying, no, we're the legit #1 station. And a lot of people caught on. So, 3 questions. How is this possible? There are 2 stations claiming to be #1. Is there even a point of being #1? Who actually is the real #1? Now, quick disclaimer before we get into this surprisingly complicated story. We reached out to both #1 radio stations for comments, and Era got back to us with their side of the story, while the other station, let's just say they don't even want their name in here, hence why we're calling them What FM. Now let's get to the first question. How are there 2 #1 stations? First, we figured telcos do this all the time, right? So maybe it's kind of like that. But actually, when telcos do so, they're claiming it for different things. Either they're the #1 fastest, #1 widest coverage, #1 most expensive. But for both these radio stations, they're claiming the same thing, #1 in listenership. So in case you didn't know, radio listenership is calculated through surveys. Here in Malaysia, the main survey provider for commercial radio is GFK, which runs a survey called Radio Audience Measurement, or RAM. This is the official standard for Malaysian radio, and who decides that? An organization called Commercial Radio Malaysia, CRM, which is an industry group made up of most of our commercial radio stations. And this is the survey that Era, along with 16 of the 21 radio stations under CRM, uses to determine their listenerships. Now, the other #1 radio station, What FM, cites their numbers from a different source, Nielsen's Consumer and Media View, or CMV. This is also a legit survey, but it measures different things. And of the 21 stations under CRM, only 4 stations uses the survey, with all 4 coming from the same company that also own What FM. Now, we're not going to go too much into the differences of these 2 surveys. You can read all of that in our article, which has a lot more details. But in a nutshell, RAM is a radio-focused survey that tracks 6,000 Malaysians twice a year through a 7-day radio diary. Meanwhile, CMV is a broader consumer survey that interviews 16,000 Malaysians through the year about their media habits, including radio, TV, brand choices, and more. The most glaring thing is, in 2024, GFK's RAM survey says Era has 4.5 million listeners, while Nielsen's CMV survey says What FM has 3.8 million listeners. So clearly, 4.5 million is bigger than 3.8 million, right? And if CRM already says that GFK is their official measurement partner, how can What FM even claim they're #1? Well, in What FM's defense, they're technically not wrong. Firstly, there are no rules in CRM that states you can only use published numbers from GFK. Instead, while GFK is their official measurement partner, using their measurement is simply a guideline. Secondly, while GFK says Era's numbers are bigger, their survey isn't done the same way as Nielsen's. And according to Nielsen's methods, What FM is #1. And unless CRM decides to enforce a standard survey method, technically anyone can claim they have the numbers. At the same time, we're not sure what CRM even thinks of this whole fiasco, because the current CRM president also happens to be the CEO of the company that owns What FM, and they also refuse to comment. So, which brings us to the next question. What even is the point? I mean, you're not going to eat KFC just because we tell you it's the world's best fried chicken. You're just going to eat your own favorite fried chicken. So who are the radio stations trying to impress? Well, the simple answer is the one who pays the bills: advertisers. Being able to say we're Malaysia's #1 radio station makes it easier to sell ad space at higher rates, attract international music labels, and build credibility with brands. Because being the biggest sells. And this is even more crucial than ever, because now radio has to compete with so many platforms to get that advertising revenue. According to the independent media consultant we interviewed,
we were the apex on the food chain, but now you have to share like the pie with Spotify, podcasts, YouTube.
Ironically though, it makes life harder for the people buying the ad spaces, because now when advertisers ask who the #1 radio station is, media agencies have to do double the work, and they'll literally say things like, according to GFK, Era is #1 with 4.5 million, but according to Nielsen, What FM is #1 with 3.8 million. So pandai-pandai lah you figure out which one is actually #1. Which brings us back to the final question at hand. Is there even a real #1 radio station in Malaysia? And the answer is, according to GFK, Era is #1 with 4.5 million, while according to Nielsen, wow, what a cop-out chili sauce. Great job. But what do you want us to say? Even media agencies don't know. And so when the radio industry can't even agree on a scoreboard, everyone just gets to hold their own trophy. Even Era's boss doesn't feel that one scoreboard is better than the other. In fact, she just wants everyone to play fair.
We have been playing by the rules. We have no issue if we want to change a survey provider. I think the what we need to do is really just end the contract, and then when we do a tender again, it can be another survey provider, but let's just follow the rules.
So yeah, at the end of the day, this isn't so much an numbers game as it is a PR war. 2 radio giants, 2 different surveys, and an industry that looks a little messy from the outside. So if you're still wondering who's number 1, maybe the real number 1 station is the one you still tune into tomorrow morning. And so with all of that said, tell us what you think. Is there a real number 1 radio station, and why is it BFM? Let us know in the comments, and as always, follow us on Chili Sauce for more radio issues tambah pedas.